So, Rue, do you want to talk like relationships you've been in, the sexy drama stories? Do you want to kind of go into detail a bit, share with your new friends? Is
How much
that
do you asking about, eh?
well, as much detail as possible?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've only had like two proper relationships. Um, hmm, I've
Okay.
told you about them.
Yeah, but like, tell me
Mm.
as if like you've never told me before.
Right? Well, I mean, which one do you want to know about first?
Oh,
Like,
I think you know.
okay, do I?
Yeah, you do.
Hmm. Well, I'll talk about the first one I had.
Right.
So he and I, well, okay, so I was using this like online app for like role playing and stuff, and they did have like I'm really
Was
interested
this on
in
geeking?
D&D. I can't remember.
That's a yes. Okay, go on.
So I am really into D&D, and I saw that was like a active call with D&D. So I joined, and there was this guy, and we made friends. Like I started slowly developing a crush for him, but like as we spoke more and more, I kind of really started to like him. So, Christ, one day one of my old friends messaged him and was like, "Yo, Rue likes you, by the way." Me completely shitting
Ooh.
myself. Like this person messaged them and told them, right? So I'm like, okay, he won't reply. He doesn't like me this way. So then a couple hours later, I get this text from him, and he's like, "Do you actually like me?" I'm like, "Fuck." So I'm sitting there like screaming to myself, and I'm like, why?"
Oh,
Trying to act like real
that's
slick
not
and be like,
obvious.
"Nah, I mean like." No, it's totally not obvious, huh? He's like, I mean, like, what made you think that? And he's like, oh, if someone who said they're a friend messaged me, and I'm like, oh. And after like, I think it was like 5, 10 minutes of me being like, nah, nah, nah. I was like, fine, like, yeah, I do like you.
What happened to
And
the
he was like,
friend? Like, did you ever
I
go at the
don't
friend?
know. And I was like, oh, thank you, question mark.
Clearly not friends
Because
anymore.
apparently, well, I mean, no, she hasn't messaged me for months,
Oh, that
but
friend.
like, not that one, no, different
Oh,
one.
oh,
Before I met that friend.
oh.
But yeah, but like so he was like, "Oh, I like you too," blah blah blah. And we got together for like I think it was like 2 3 months, 2 or 3 months. And you won't believe what happened, right?
What happened?
So we used to call like almost every day, right? And so this one day I get a text from him and he's like, "Hey, I've got to tell you something." And I was like,
Oh,
okay. And he was like, "I've got cancer of the breast
oh
and
God.
all this stuff." Yeah. And he's like, I've been trying to hide it from you, but I can't. And I don't know how long I'll have left." And I was like, me being dumb, I was like, "Oh, I mean, I'll still be here if you need me." He's like, "No, I think we should just break up." And I cried like a fat baby that I am. So we broke up. And I told my best friend um, about this, and she was like, "Oh, he's got cancer," and I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And she was like, "He is faking it, right?" So, like, um, a couple of my friends, they went off at him. They went after him, and
Right.
I'm not gonna say anything about it because I low key supported it. But anyways,
Whoa, moving swiftly on.
moving swiftly on. So once they went off at him, he tried messaging me again about a week or 2 weeks later, and he was trying to be all friendly with me. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I miss you, and I really fucked up. And, like, I was just wondering if we could get back together again." Yeah,
But,
yeah,
but, but
exactly. And I was
what
like,
happened to the cancer?
exactly. I was like, "But I thought you said you had cancer." It's like, "No, like it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like it's cleared up and like it's all good now."
Did he just
And
take a
I'm like,
shower? Did he just not wash? And you thought like the grey marking from not washing was? Did he self-diagnose? Is this?
"I don't know." So I was like, yeah, mate, no, we're not getting back together. Because he was trying to be my friend and he thought that he could call me again and like try and be on the phone with me all
Oh,
day, every day. And I was like, nah, mate, nah. So like, I was like, yeah, no, sorry, I ain't gonna be your friend. I ain't gonna get back with you. Like, it's just a nah, like all that stuff. So flash forward to a couple of months later, like quite recently actually, I was speaking about this person who I call cancer patient because he faked it. Um,
wait, how do you know he faked it? Just to clarify for people on the podcast.
we're getting to it.
Okay.
So I was talking to one of my old friends about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, well actually, I was in one of his calls that he had like opened up, and I was just sitting there listening in, and he was bragging to all the people in the call how he was stringing you along, and faked it, and then I was like, oh really? And he was like, yeah. So I found this motherfucker's fucking Facebook, and he was still with the ex that he told me he wasn't with.
Oh God, she died too. Did he tell you that she died of like something else?
No, like
Oh,
apparently
right.
they broken up and everything. But then like I go on his Facebook and she's still with him and I'm just like, oh,
Oh
okay then.
God.
So you cheated on her with me. But okay.
Yeah. Oh
And
God.
you were willing to do it a second time.
Maybe a third too.
I mean,
Wink,
I'm not
wink.
that desperate. I'm not that desperate. Um,
Oh no.
but yeah, that's like one of my stories.
Did you want to share another, or should I? How we gonna take it in turns?
Yeah, we're taking in turns yours next because I
Okay.
feel like I talk too much.
So for this next story, I'm gonna fake name because otherwise we have name drops all over again, and we don't want Jeremy Corbyn coming back in our love life. He was already in our school life. Be a bit weird if he was just in our love life. So we're gonna go up with the name. I don't know, Zach, something kind of close to their actual name, actually, in a weird way. Anyway, so this guy was a long distance relationship, and I kid you not, the first and second time he cheated on me, but the way I found out is a bit we're going to focus on. I kid you not, right? I go on my Instagram because he falls asleep on call with me. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, ugh, for God's sake. I was already a bit pissed off because I hadn't spoken to him all week. So I go on his Instagram and there's this guy commenting on his pictures. And I was like, huh, this guy looks kind of familiar. I was like, oh, this is weird. I check his store, I check his little profile, and it says
Hmm.
taken by my baby boy at, and has his at. I was like, oh, I see.
What the fuck?
Okay. So I keep spam calling him, and he goes active on Instagram. I was like, oh, okay. All right, mate. Gonna ignore me. So I fucking blocked him. I was like, no, I'm not having this. Block. I was not
Uh-huh.
having it, and I didn't. I don't think I went on Snapchat. It was back when I didn't use Snapchat. So I go on
Oh,
Snapchat the
right,
next
right.
morning. And I'm just swiping through, and I didn't realize I was friends with him on there. He posted on Snapchat like, "I'm really sorry, baby," and at the boys like, "Please add me back and block my number. I miss you." Then I'm like, oh, "Okay, he doesn't give a fuck about me. All right, cut, you know." But
Hmm.
so I was like, okay. So a few months down the line, I get into another relationship with another person who actually lives near me for once. Hey, but I
Wow.
know, but I think this
How
might be
about
actually
that?
I know, but and you'll remember this person. He was like really nice at the beginning. Anyway, at the very beginning of the relationship, he was nice. Anyway, he has the same. He has the name as the person you were talking about in episode one. Same name.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
that dude.
oh, yeah.
That dude. So this person doesn't really matter that much. And so while I'm dating this person, I get a message on Instagram from the fucking ex pop up. He's like, "Oh, I really miss you. I love you. Can we get back together?" I didn't respond. I was like, "Okay, not having this." So I said no. I sent him Portal, like Portal the game. There's a song in it called like "Want
Mm.
You Gone and Still Alive," and I sent quotes from that. It was amazing. GLaDOS was living it. So anyway, I didn't even respond to him. I was like, "I love you. I just want to hear you say it one last time." I did not respond. So a few months later down the line, that relationship ends, and I get back with an ex who actually lived near me. We were talking about this guy earlier, Rue, so you know who this guy is. Again, this guy doesn't matter that much. So this is the day before like Pride, and he's sleeping over. He's like asleep in my bed, and I'm asleep on the floor. Long story. I used to have this thing I couldn't sleep next to people. It was this whole thing. So I go on Instagram at like 5 in the morning. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Who the fuck's messaging me at 5, 6 in the morning? It's him again. And he just follows
Oh my
me
God.
and he says hi. I'm like, oh, okay. I messaged him back because I was curious because it's been like 4 or 5 months at this point. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, like that was quite a long time because usually he'd always message within the first month. So we're like, oh, okay, all right, that's something. We'll see who the actually no. Sorry, no, the timeline's wrong. Actually, this was about August when I broke up with him because I remember I went on holiday with my nan, didn't I? Because we were talking about him messaging
Yes.
me. Yeah, it was that. So it was actually a year. It was a year's gap. Sorry. So next, like July comes up. It's been a year and a bit at this point. I get a message. I'm like, oh, it's been a while. And he's like, hey, can we call sometime? I was like, okay. Like, I'm up for calling because I'm a grown adult. I can become friends with people. Apparently not. So I get into a Discord call with you and him because I'm not going to call him without Rue being there. So,
Hmm.
and he was trying to call it like he had a dead sister. But the thing is, when we Googled the sister's name, there was nothing. And we're not saying it's possible it happened, but he was trying to say his sister was murdered. It's like, okay,
Yeah, it was a whole murder case, and apparently, according to him, it was like global.
yeah. I liked what he tried to his accent then. But
Yeah.
yeah, but oh my god, he was just something else. So anyway, so he starts trying to get flirty with me, even though he said he only wanted to be friends, and I also agreed I only wanted to be friends. But during this point, I break up with the person I'm dating because things weren't going so well. So at this point, I kind of really needed a friend. I needed someone who wasn't my best friend because my best friend at the time she was great, and I'm saying it not because she's on the podcast with me now, so I kind of have to be nice. But but sometimes that you want other people too. You just want
Yeah.
a lot of people. So I really
As
needed
long as
like
I'm the greatest, yeah.
were the greatest. So I had someone else,
Thank
and
you.
they started flirting with me. I was like, okay, I'm not having this. And then they start saying, I love you. And I was like, okay, let me check this, like their exes or parent exes Facebook. Because he said
Yeah.
that the reason he was so upset, because apparently the ex that he cheated on me with apparently cheated on him with his cousin, like with his own cousin. So it was an
Yeah, I
incest thing.
remember.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So I checked the Facebook and they were still in a relationship. And I thought, okay, like, no, this isn't, no. So I just started ignoring him. And for a few months after, he then started copying like our poses. Because Rue and I have certain poses we used to use. That's kind of how we know when we took a picture. Because for like a year or two, we'll just use the exact same pose with the exact same filter in the exact same position and everything. And he was starting to copy the fuck out of us. And that was really weird.
Hmm.
Anyway,
And the
it was just,
funniest thing
oh,
was,
go on.
the funniest thing was though, like he thought by attacking me that you would come back to him, and I'm just
Yeah.
sitting here like, mate,
Oh
you know
God.
I'm his best friend. Like,
Oh
why,
God.
why
Yeah, he
come
did
attack
do
me?
that, didn't he? Because didn't he message me? He
Mm.
was like, "Oh, I'm standing up to someone I fear for you" or something. I swear that was a message.
God,
I
yeah.
can't remember that much, but anyway, later down the line, he tried messaging me again, but I didn't get back to him. I think that's when we started leaving him on red because at that point, Rue and I were just so pissed off with him. We were just like, no, we're just gonna fucking
Hmm.
leave him on red. Because I think at one point I used to have another friend. He messaged her to try and get her to get me to add him back. I was like, no, not gonna happen, not happening. So there's that, and that I think actually, that wasn't the last time I dated someone online. There was another guy after that, but he was just something else. We're not going to get into him.
I was broken up with in February, and when we are recording this, it is July. So, just to give some context, um, the person I was
Watch
with,
this not go out until
uh,
December.
oh God, the person I was with, I knew them from my high school, and we used to be friends. We had the same interests in music, kinks, just all that
Oh,
kind of stuff. Shut up.
we'll try.
and and we became like really good friends. And some stuff happened in my personal life, and my mom and I had to move away from where I used to live.
Right.
So I think it was around December 2019. No, November, December 2019. Um, I got this random message from him saying, "Hey, do you still have like the videos of me playing guitar that I sent to you when we were still in high
That an
school?" And I was like,
innuendo.
yeah." No, no, no.
Right.
Like he was actually a musician.
Right.
I can find them. Like I didn't save them, but if I scroll up far enough, I'll find them. So I sent them to him, and we started talking again. And he told me how he broke up with a girl who used to be my friend. Sorry, dude. Like, being a good friend, I was comforting him and being like, "Yo, I'm here for you if you need to talk because sometimes breakups are hard." And we became closer over the past few times we started like we were talking. Um, so close that like we started like calling almost every day and even falling asleep on the phone with each other, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's something you don't do now.
Well, not with anyone other than my best friend. We used to like fall asleep on the phone together, and me being the dumb bitch that I am, decided, oh, I have feelings. I have now caught the feelings. So like I was on like this sort of like 2-3 day trip, and he and I like again, whenever I had like the Wi-Fi or anything, I would call him, and we fell asleep
God,
on
that's
the
so
phone and all that
sad.
stuff. Shut up, leave me alone. I'm
Well,
clingy.
don't you worry
I
about
am
that.
clingy. I am clingy. Okay, like if I care about you, I am clingy. It's just how it is.
I don't worry, I
So
know.
yeah. So once I got back, I was telling him about the trip and everything because it was like kind of an adventure thing, and he started like low-key flirting with me, and I could sense it. And he was calling me, and he was calling me like nicknames like baby and all that stuff. I was like, hmm. So me being like awkward, I was like, wait, don't call me that if you don't mean it. He's like, well, what do you mean if I don't mean it? I'm like, you know what I mean. And he's like, do I? And it was this whole like it was like this whole weird banter, flirty, I don't know. And in the end, I was like, yeah, okay, I like you. Like, hi.
Oh,
Like, oh, yeah. It was like, I mean, I think, I can't remember his words exact as they were, but it was something along the lines of, I like you too, but like the distance, you're like up north, I'm down south. And I was like, yeah, I get that.
sounds like an amazing song. He
But
was
like,
down
you're up
south.
north, I'm.
She was up north. No. Right, continue. Continue.
But like, I was like, yeah, I get that. But we still like were close. And in the end, I think we just kind of established that we were together. It just happened. Um, and it got to the point like, okay, it got to the point where I kind of said the L word.
Ooh.
And he said it back. So I was like, okay, he L's me.
The big Love.
Yeah,
Did you
that
never
big
listen
word.
to that like Katy Perry song? It's like Love is not what this was. Did you never listen to
Honestly.
that?
No,
Yeah.
I've never heard it.
Clearly you should have.
But it's seriously. Exactly. But he said it back. Well, technically, okay, so I was like really shy, and I was like, before I said the L word, I was like, I like you, kind of thing, every time we ended
Right.
the call. And it's like, I like you too, like, obviously. But he didn't
Oh dear
understand.
God.
So I was like, you do realize what I mean, right? He's like, no. I'm like, yes, you do. He's like, I do, but I want you to say it first so I can say it back. So I was like, oh.
Oh fucking
um,
hell.
I don't know. Well, he said it, whatever. And then we were fine for for a couple of weeks, I guess, because we only really made it to a month. But
The longest relationship.
I know, right? A whole month, fam. Beat that, beat a month. But anyways, so this is the night before the breakup, right? We're on the phone,
Right.
and I'm about to fall asleep. And he's like, oh, I love you. Like, I was like, I love you too, night. And I fell asleep on the phone. I woke up in the morning and I saw that he had sent me a message saying, hey, I love you, have a good day, right? This is
Mm.
important. So I was like, oh, but I didn't respond because I was busy. But
Did you read it
whatever.
or did you read the notification? What did you do?
I read the notification.
Right.
Yeah. So when I got back, I checked, I opened up the text, but it was deleted. And he's like, hey, we gotta talk. And I was like, uh-oh.
Oh.
I was like, uh-oh. So I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm gonna call you. So I was like, all right. And he's like, first thing, I was like, hey, like, how are you? Just like me thinking that we're still together. No.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't working anymore, and I don't think I can be with you. And he's like, I can't pretend to love you or pretend to see a future with you. And it's like, oh,
Oh.
okay.
Oh. That's not
Okay.
harsh at all.
I know, like, I get it. He was being straightforward, and I appreciate that. But the way he said it was like,
Yeah.
oh. And then he was like, worst thing is, my mom came into my room and she saw me, like, my eyes tearing up. And she's like, what's wrong? So I went on mute, and he's like, I had my headphones in still, and she was talking to me, and I was crying. He's like, you better not be crying. And I'm like, fuck. So like, I waited a couple seconds. Like, waited for mom to leave, and I like wiped my. I was like, I'm fine, sorry. Mom just came into my room.
Oh God! You should have said you were crying. You should have been honest.
God no. I don't like crying, so no, I don't let people see me cry. Yeah, like I don't. Shut up. Like, I don't let people see me cry. I don't like being that emotional and letting other people see it.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I understand. Don't worry.
Oh God.
And he was like, all right. And I was like, sorry, I gotta go. I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, okay. So he left.
Yeah.
And then he was like, we can still be friends though, before he left. I was like, all right, chill. So me thinking that we were still friends, I was sending him fucking memes because he likes memes.
Oh God. Right.
And I get this text from one of his friends saying, he wants you to know he wants you to fuck off. And I was like, oh. So I messaged him, like, normally I'm non-confrontational, right? But I was like, mate. So I messaged him and I was like, yo, if you want me to fuck off, why don't you say it yourself?
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't say that. Like, my friend just took it into the wrong context. And I was like, sure. All right, if you say so. Bitch fucking blocked me, like, the next couple of hours.
Oh God.
I'm like, oh, so it's just a miscommunication, huh? Yeah. And, like, he's unblocked me since. But, like,
has he messaged?
I'm just... Not yet. From what you've told me, though. I am ready for that day.
That's another podcast.
Also, like, you guys might not know this, but, like, obviously you might not know we've only just started this podcast, but, like...
Yeah, like we've spoken about it before.
Like, Niall and I are, like, really big into, like, astrology, numerology, tarot cards and that stuff.
Yeah.
So... Some stuff was spoken about.
We're coming for the psychic twins. That's what we're saying. No, we're not. They are
Trisha Paytas, Shane Dawson.
They're not the psychic twins. They're the psychic nonces. There's a difference.
Yeah, but the psychic twins showed up on Shane's channel, so I was like, you know.
It worked. Oh God.
It worked. But yeah.
Actually, on our next podcast, and we're going to leave this in. You know how on the psychic they go, "Hi, I'm Terry, and I'm Linda."
Oh my God. We need to do that.
Right, okay, continue. So before the podcast gets bored of us.
Yeah. But yeah, he hasn't messaged me since. But the last I know was he was fucking watching my fucking Instagram stories. So my best friend fucking messages him, and she's like, why are you watching her stories? I thought you were like done with her. Why the fuck did you fucking block her? And now you're watching her stories. Like, creep much? And he just like stopped completely. He stopped looking at my stories. And I was like, but okay, I'm kind of petty.
Right.
I left my Instagram on private now, so that, like, you know, I can see if he ever wants to look at my stories, because my stories are unprivated as well. So I can catch him out if he's like accidentally clicks on my story, because I'm like, so you are checking up on me.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's just me. I mean, I would say mine are funny, but I just laugh about them. Because that's all you can do, really.
Really get over trauma.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing we should say though is the whole. So Rue and I Rue wants to like develop more skills in her intuition, which is really interesting. We're going to be careful not to sidetrack it. Anyway, we both have said that we feel like that our exes are going to message us at some point, and they have on occasions in certain other exes and stuff. So like Rue and I are now sat here like, okay, when these bitches message us, we're going to be ready. We've come up with what we're going to say and everything. So if we go missing, you know what happened. One of us went back to the other, and we had a fallout again. Because that's what's going to happen. Which is, I'm in a relationship, so if it better not be me.
It better not be me either, because I don't want to go back to him. Fuck him.
But it can't be me either, because I actually have someone.
Wow, rubbing my face, why don't you? I'm just alone and unloved. Okay.
Oh god. So yeah, I guess this has been our relationship episode. Is there any other things you want to add before we close it off?
If someone says they have cancer and then they message you 2 weeks later telling you their cancer is gone, don't go back to them, please.
And I want to say, if someone from New York, maybe, but not the city, just a bit further up, we're gonna get a bit close here, a bit close. You know, the little towns that no one really gives a damn about. Those places. If someone messages you from there, and they tell you that they want to be with you or whatever, don't believe them. Don't do that. Do you know what you should do in that case? You know what you should do? Delete your social media and find someone who's actually close to you. Top tip from me.
Okay, don't need to be attacked, damn.
I'm only saying that because I have someone. Wait for my relationship to end, and I'll be back to online dating. No, Chris, if you're listening, I love you. Don't dump me yet. Thank you.
Dump him after he becomes Prime Minister.
No. Oh god. My luck would be Chris would get PM and I wouldn't.
Probably.
Oh god. Anyway, that's our lovely episode coming to an end. Let's say some final words. Come on. Something to go off.
Pineapple.
No, I meant some advice to give at the end of the podcast. Like, bye. Stay safe. Oh, pineapples.
You said say a word, so I said what the first one that came into my head.
Oh god, we're leaving that in. Bye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.